Okay, hi guys. For public speaking, it's Miss Avela. I am trying to get this set up so that I can do my ADS or my after dinner speech, which is basically the speech that you guys are going to do where you're using your rhetoric. It's based off the MLK speech. Okay, so what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to do the speech, but what I'm going to show you is how you should deliver it. Okay, so one of the things that I have for you guys is I have, it's hard to memorize a speech that you're going to do for an after dinner speech. So what I've done is I have behind you, I've got a PowerPoint which has my speech on it behind you, so that I can use it sort of as a teleprompter. That way, if I get lost in my speech, I know where to pick up. So if you see me look over to the right really quick, that would be why. Okay, so here we go. Robert F. Kennedy once said, in order to fail great, no, I started wrong. Let me start again. Robert F. Kennedy once said, only by daring to fail greatly can we achieve greatly. Today, class of 2021, I'm going to tell you about failure. Ironic, right? I'm not going to tell you about your failure because obviously you haven't failed. You're here, aren't you? I'm going to tell you about my failure. This is about how I have failed you. How have I failed you? By teaching you how to fail. Since you were little, educators have told you you can do or be anything you want or put your mind to. And that's true. But there are a couple of things we don't say. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have limitations that seem unsurmountable. You are going to fail. You're going to think it's too hard, but it's worth it. You're going to want to quit. And when you do, remember why you started in the first place. FDR once said that there are no failures, there are only lessons. So first, I'm going to tell you a story about making mistakes. Yep, we all make them. No one likes to admit it, but we do. And that's okay, because mistakes are proof that you're trying. In preschool, we had to take a battery of tests to prove that we were able to go into kindergarten. My mother called and said, well, when does she get to move up to kindergarten? And they said I wasn't going to get to move up to kindergarten. And she wondered, well, why not? And they said, I passed with flying colors except in one area. And this is a metaphor for my life. My mom said, well, what area did she fail in? And they said, coloring inside the lines. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that thinking outside the box and coloring outside the lines is kind of what I do. My mom simply said, well, did you tell her to color inside the lines? And the teacher said, well, no, every kindergartner should know that that's the benchmark. And my mom said, well, how would she know to color inside the lines unless you told her? You see, my mom believed that I should not have to color inside the lines. I wouldn't know what to do unless I was told. We only had paper in our house instead of coloring books because my mom wanted me to draw what could be rather than what was. Which leads me to my favorite quote by Joseph Chilton, which once said, how to create a life? To create a life, we must lose the fear of being wrong. Making mistakes is proof that you're trying. If we are so afraid of making mistakes and pursuing what is right, we can never discover the possibilities of what could be. And here's the thing we never say for some reason. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. No one tells you that some things are beyond your capabilities. For instance, if you really hate math, being an engineer, probably a bad choice. If you're squeamish about blood, being a doctor, probably might want to reconsider that. If you hate public speaking, then I would not suggest becoming a politician. That's not to say that you can't overcome these things, because you can. It just means you're going to have to work a lot harder. Let me explain. Several years ago, there were these popular books called Magic Eyes, and they were kind of like mosaics. And when you looked at them, you would have three-dimensional objects would come out and you could say them. I can't do it. Never have been, never will be able to. And my friends say, well, just relax your eyes. So just look past the picture. Just cross your eyes. Just look past the picture, into the picture. And my favorite sage advice was, just don't look at it and you'll see it. It turns out that I have a genetic eye disorder that makes my eyes not play very well together. One is nearsighted and one is farsighted. So it makes seeing three-dimensional objects very difficult. And my depth perception isn't the best. Good thing I didn't want to be a pilot. But the thing is if you're frustrated and confused, it means you're learning. And we all have limitations. Know yours and go beyond them. And if all your plans aren't going right, then go left. Because knowing your limitations is not a weakness, but a strength. The last thing I want to tell you about is failure. You will fail. Epically. In order to obtain my master's, I had to write a thesis, a long essay that proves or disproves a theory. When I sat down to write it, I couldn't. My professor asked how it was going, and I told her it wasn't. I told her I didn't know where to start. She asked if I tried, and I said, if I tried, of course I tried. I've tried millions of times. Nothing was working, I tried. She said, no. Not did you try. Did you try your project? Of course I did. It was an utter failure. I chose the wrong script. I chose the wrong cast. I chose the wrong audience. I chose to do much with too little. I chose a high concept with a group that didn't understand it. And she said, that doesn't sound like failure. It sounds like a lesson. So I started to write. 121 pages later, I was finished. Well, actually, 8 drafts of 121 pages whittled down to 45 pages, and I was almost there. The fact is that success was in the trying. One of the greatest failure successful stories, Michael Jordan once said, the biggest failure you can make in life is not trying at all. So class of 2021, I leave you with these final thoughts in order to be successful. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. You're going to fail. It's okay. Remember that if you make mistakes, keep trying. If you're confused, you're learning. If you are learning, you're succeeding. And there are no failures, just lessons. And it will be hard. In the immortal words of Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own, of course it's hard. If it were easy, everyone would do it. It's the hard that makes it great. I never said it would be easy, but I said it would be worth it. Every successful person was once a failure before they were a success. Dream big and dare to fail.